This is Support is Sexy, episode 33, with celebrity makeup artist Camara Aunique Helps. Welcome to the Support is Sexy podcast. I'm your host, Elayne Fluker, entrepreneur, author, producer, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I talk to women entrepreneurs who share their journeys and the true stories of their wins and their lessons, and give you insight and inspiration to take your business and your life to the next level. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Support is Sexy. I am thrilled that you are here because you know it just would not be the same without you. So today we are welcoming celebrity makeup artist Camara Aunique Helps. And Camara talks about the importance of always growing and wanting to be great, and says that is really what drove her and what continues to drive her, as does her awareness of not getting too comfortable with her celebrity clients, because that is one of those pitfalls that you don't want to fall into. Camara's business, which is all about uplifting her clients really, albeit glamorous from the outside, she really goes into how it is a grind and one that requires a lot of energy. But in 4 years, Camara is becoming a master at what I call the gorgeous grind, working with clients like June Ambrose, Chloe and Halle, Candy Burris, Andra, and many, many more. So on this episode, Camara shares what she has learned in the past 4 years. And some of those things include what it takes to break into the makeup business, also how far humility gets you in that business, the importance of taking time to learn how to be a better artist, which I think is crucial advice, what you need to know about working with celebrity clients, something I mentioned earlier, the importance of staying connected and staying ready, a great tip. Also, how to handle those slow seasons, which a lot of us, especially as solopreneurs or entrepreneurs, slow seasons do come about. So Camara talks about managing that season and managing your money during that season. And another great piece of advice from Camara is why being an assistant and consistently learning makes you a better leader in your industry. So I know you're going to love this, full of information and great insider behind the scenes tips and advice. So without further ado, Camara Aunique Helps. So Camara, thank you so much for joining us on an episode of Support is Sexy. I'm excited to have you here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm honored.
Absolutely. So I have to ask you the first question I ask everyone. When did you first fall in love with entrepreneurship?
Oh, when I got a taste of it. I think it was like probably about, it's been 5 years now, 4 years. Because you were basically the first person to ever hire me for like my first freelance gig.
I was?
For Chic Rebellion.
That's awesome. 2012.
So once I got a taste of that, I never looked back. So
you were like, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's amazing what you've accomplished in 4 years, which we're going to talk about later. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Now, you're originally from Brooklyn, right?
Yes, born and raised in Brooklyn and Flatbush.
So what was Camara like as a little girl?
Oh gosh, she was loud, boisterous. She was fun. She was sensitive, but she was also very creative. My mom always had me in the museums, or she would teach me how to knit and how to create things. So I was always doing something to create something. It was always creating something. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what were your greatest influences as you grew up?
My greatest influences, I believe, was like my grandmother, watching my grandmother basically still going to work and still providing, purchase a home, taking care of all of us. My mom, she was also someone that was influencing me because she always it was just always like, okay, get it done. They basically taught me just don't complain, just get it done, get things done. Mm-hmm. So
now one of the things that you've said is you wanted to be to young people who you needed when you were growing up. I saw that was a quote that you said. So who did you need growing up?
I needed support of like other creatives that were doing the things that I wanted to do. I didn't know I wanted to do makeup then either. Mm-hmm. I was never that makeup girl. I was never into things like that. I was just more like a creative. So it would have been good to have someone that understood an artist in my, like, that understood artists and was in my life.
You mentioned that you weren't into makeup growing up. When did that come into your life? Like, was it later on, or how did you become interested in it?
I used to work in Macy's Herald Square,
Mm-hmm.
and I was working for a organic company, and I used to be right in the middle of the two Mac counters, and those girls used to like walk past, and I'm like, oh my God, look at them! I want to look like that. I want to learn how to do that. And what pushed me to do this was I used to beg those girls on 34th Street. I tell this story all the time. I used to beg them to teach me how to do makeup, and none of them would want to. And basically, that's what made me get into it and say, you know what, I'm going to teach myself, and I'm going to be really good at this.
Right.
And
you're really good at it.
And some of them are still at 34th Street. So it was just I guess the Leo in me. It was just like, you know what? If they say I can't do it, I'm going to show you I'm going to do it.
Right. Now, why wouldn't they show you how to do it? It's not like you were a competition for them at the store, right? It was just one of those things where people just don't want to share. Right.
Yeah. And that's why I push myself to like have assistants and tell people, you know, you have to assist others, because like I still assist, you know, at where I'm at in my career. I still assist people, you know, and I tell people these, you know, like the girls that always like are inspired, and I'm like, well, you have to continue to assist. It doesn't matter who you're working with, just work with somebody, because when they're ready to move on, you get those clients. Right. And, you know, so that's why I try to be the person that I didn't have coming in as a creative, as a makeup artist. I didn't have that support, you know, until I got to Mac and I built those relationships with people. The person that I assist is the person that hired me for Mac. And she's killing it, you know, and I'm still like, you're like everything. I need to assist you. And she you know, she calls me all the time to help her whenever she's not available. I take care of clients. And then that's how I got June Ambrose, and that's how I got Andra Day, and that's how I got, you know, the clients just kept flowing in off of me being humble about it and saying, you know what, I want to learn from somebody, and then I'm going to take what I learned and teach someone else, so that when I'm ready to move on, that person can, you know, it's like a cycle.
Right.
It's like a cycle.
That's so true. And people don't understand how that works well in almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
This is the more you give, the more you receive. It might not be from that exact person, but just not to get too woo-woo, but the universe and overall, I know you're into that too.
Oh,
the
yeah.
universe and overall, it just comes back in ways you can't even imagine. And then the people who, like you said, didn't share or whatever, you don't even need those people.
Absolutely.
It comes back around. I think that's so brilliant that you still assist people too. Do you feel like you still learn by working with other people still?
Of course, I'm always learning, and it's one of the best things ever, because it's like there's things that I didn't know how to do, like especially for red carpet. You know, you don't know. You look at your red carpet work I look at my red carpet work from years ago, and I'm like, damn, I could have did this differently. I wish I knew how to do that. And then I look at it as like, now I'm learning how to handle it so that the red carpet look is 100% perfect.
And is that a matter of lighting? Not to get too technical, but is that because of the lighting is different, or different things,
No,
or the angles, or?
It's just basically the products I'm using and how to use them the right way and the correct way, and making them, you know, just basically being a better artist, learning how to be a more taking time to, like, I move faster, but I also take my time to make sure that the work is just more tight and finished.
Right.
More finished.
A more finished look. I get it. Totally get it. Now, what do you love about makeup? I know you, like you said, you fell in love with it after just seeing these girls with their makeup looking perfect, I guess. But what do you love about it?
I tell people the first thing that I love about makeup is that feeling when someone takes the mirror and looks at what I just completed, and they go, oh my God. That feeling when they go like, when they clutch their pearls and they're like, oh my God, I feel so beautiful. Like I feel even more beautiful. Like that's basically one of the main reasons why I do makeup, is just to make people feel good. You know, I never want to make others feel down or bad about themselves. So like the fact that I could uplift others or be like their therapist is like the best feeling ever.
So you mentioned that is 2012 though when makeup really became that thing for you, when you started doing it professionally, or when did it become like? No, it had to be before then though, because you were working in the store and that kind of thing. When did it become that thing?
I started working for Estee Lauder. And I was working at Lord & Taylor's, and I met so many dope people working there, and different people taught me how to do. One person taught me how to do brows, another person taught me how to do foundation, and I was picking it up. And I left that $85,000 job because I was getting paid really great money at the counter for Estee Lauder, and I went down to making $20,000 a year just to work at MAC to become a better artist. And yeah, so it was a sacrifice, but it was also like, you know what, this is what I want to do now. After working in retail and working around different artists that were amazing, it was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do as much as I can to learn the craft, and then slowly but surely, everything was a plan. Everything was like a master plan. I don't know how I did it, but it was, I made a goal for myself that when I got into MAC, I was going to be there for 2 years. I said, I'm only going to do this for 2 years. I'm not going to get comfortable at MAC. I don't want to be a manager. I want to be part-time. I'm going to build my clientele, and I only want to work at the best store. So I worked on Fifth Avenue at Henry Bendel, where I built clients from there. And then I worked at Times Square. I got the Essence clients. I got the double XL clientele. And then after that, I moved on from there. I went and opened a Fifth Avenue store. And then that was enough for me.
Mm-hmm. So how long were you there? About 2 years?
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, what was that transition like, going from making all this money to going to MAC and making a lot less? Were you very much focused on what your goal was, and it wasn't about the money? Because how important is that? I think it's important for people to hear that.
Oh, it was extremely important. It was never about the money. I think I was broke for for 3 years. I had no money. The first 3 years I was like, I just told my assistant, she was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I am struggling. Like, it's hard. And I said to her, I said, this is not something that you got to come in and just say the jobs are coming in. I said, come November to February or March, we're not doing anything.
That's a slow season.
Mm-hmm. And I, basically learned that. It took a while to learn, but it came to me after like 2 years. I was like, okay, now I got to start saving money a certain way, and now I have to start moving a certain way with this, and now I have to start building, and I have to keep in touch with everybody. But I try to keep in touch with almost everyone that I've worked with to say, don't forget me.
Right.
I'm still here if you ever need,
So sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so planning for that season, once you went through 1 or 2 seasons like that where you found, okay, this is the slow season, how do you plan for that? Do you just say, okay, I know by this time I have to have money to cover my expenses for the rest of the year?
Basically, yeah. So I started saving from long time. I have an accountant.
Right.
Being that I'm a LLC, I'm a business now. So it's like I have an employee I have to pay. So I have everything like, okay, this goes here, this goes here. I'm staying in my little apartment that I have, paying amazing rent in Bed-Stuy. I'm not moving. I can move into like a doorman building, but I'm not going to live beyond my needs. I'm just like, everything is, I'm trying to save. I'm trying to get my credit on, everything is like building myself up so that when the time is right, I could say I have everything in place.
That's awesome. I'm so proud of you. I love
Thank
that.
you.
I'm so proud of you. Now, how did you transition from working at the MAC counter to working with celebrities like you mentioned, June Ambrose and Andra Day and so many others? How did you make that transition, and how did you know that that's where you wanted to go?
I'll tell you a story. Okay. So when I was working at Lord & Taylor's, I met June. I met June Ambrose at Lord & Taylor's, and I said to her, I said, oh my God, you're June Ambrose. And she's like, yes, darling. Yes. How are you? How are you? And I was like, I love you. Like, cause June was like that person that we looked up to as artists. Even if you did hair, makeup, whatever, you looked at June like, wow, this is a Black woman that's killing the game. She works with the best rapper alive, and she's like amazing, right. And she's like a trendsetter. And this is before Instagram, before all that. I think this is when selfies first came out, and I was like, can I get a selfie? I still have the picture to this day. And I said to her, I said, you know, one day I'm going to do your makeup and we're going to be like the best of friends. I swear to God, we're going to do it. She was like, whatever. Okay. You know, I work with the best makeup artist, darling. So you keep working and we'll work together. Yes. Mm-hmm. And then 7 years later.
And there you go. Now, what was it like that moment that you got the call from her or her people or whoever saying that she wants you to do her makeup? Did you have that flashback? Like, I knew this was going to happen.
I was ready. They say, you know, when people say like, you have to stay ready. Mm-hmm. I stayed ready. So Portia Fabulous, who was like my mentor and the person I assist, she called me one time and was like, hey, so I might need you to help me with June Ambrose. And can you be at her house at 3:30 in the morning? Was it 3:30? No, 4 a.m. Can you be at her house at 4 a.m.? I was like, absolutely.
Right.
Do you need me to bring anything?
Right.
No, you just come so you can see how I do her makeup. No problem. I got there at 3:45. I was like sitting there waiting like, oh my God, I'm in June Ambrose's house. Oh my God, I'm about to do June Ambrose's makeup. Oh my God. Like, it was like that feel, like, it was just like, wow, this is really happening. It was a good feeling. It was an absolutely good feeling.
You manifested that. You said it.
I did.
And it became, that's a beautiful thing. Now, what do you think? Because makeup artists and the industry and what people see, especially working with celebrities, it's all very glamorous. Mm-hmm. What do you think that is the main thing people misunderstand about what you do and how it all works?
A lot of people do think it is glamorous. A lot of people do think that it's like you're hanging out with celebrities. You forget about the little people. I hear that a lot. You forgot where you came from. And, you know, it's so much negative stuff sometimes, but it's like, honestly, it's like, I tell people it's not about forgetting about certain things. It's about wanting to be better than where I came from and trying to change and say that, you know what, I don't want to go back to that. I want to, you know, and I want to keep going. I want to grow. I want to show you guys that we can do this, right. You know, that you can come from the hood, you know, where you're getting into altercations of like, you have to make sure you're running from altercations so you stay alive in that hood, like real hood. Mm-hmm. And you could be great and you could mingle with people that are of a certain caliber and you could make friends with these people and you could do their makeup and be in their house. But I honestly tell people too, I don't get comfortable. Even though we're like cool and I can hang out with her and go places with her to, you know, certain events and stuff, I still try to keep it very professional with her. Right. Because I never want to get it twisted where I'm thinking that we're friends and then she shuts me down like, no, we ain't friends. You know, I never want to give anyone that opportunity to make it clear to me. I stay in my lane. Mm-hmm. You know, I stay in my lane.
I think that's smart. A smart tip about keeping it professional, because a lot of times people I've seen just all different kinds of industries, especially around celebrities. It's like, oh, that's my best friend, and it's like, no, that person has best friends. You should have your own, you know. And then when something happens, it's devastating. Like if they, for whatever reason, it might not even have been a problem with the work. They might just move on to another look or whatever it is, or change their business or that kind of thing.
Exactly. And I also, you know, it's not glamorous. I have so many pictures on Getty of me looking crazy because it's not about me. And I make it clear that I make it clear to the other artists that I know, like, it's not about you. Mm-hmm. If you want to be a blogger, you go do that. But this makeup life is real. Right. And they want you to uplift them. They want you to tell them they're gorgeous. They want you to tell them they're amazing. They want you to, like, and like I was just telling my friend Kayla, we was on the phone last night and she was like, you know, I said, we were talking about something because she's like, you always have to talk about you. And I said, let me explain one thing to you as my friend. You ever notice that my job is about always lifting up others? Mm-hmm. So then there's a time when I get on the phone with my support system, which is her. Kayla is my support system. Uh-huh. And I'm like, can we just talk about me for a second? And she's like, you know, and I've never thought about it like that. I never really looked, you know, and she was like, I get it now because I'm constantly lifting up others that I'm like, all right, can you lift me up to where I put them? Because I'm like, I gave so much energy that I'm like, I'm down here now and I need you to like say, okay, you good.
I think that's powerful that you, first of all, having a support system, whether that's a person or a team or whoever, where you can say things like that too. Like, look, this is what I need in this moment, or these are the reasons why I need it. And they understand. and can, you know, surround you with what you need. But also the fact that you are in a business where you're giving constantly, and you have to be able to replenish, right? Because it takes energy from you and all those things. So the importance of that, because some people get worn out just from that. They feel like they're burnt out and don't know why. And it's because, you know, you're in a business where you're just giving constantly. And making other people feel beautiful, which I'm sure there's some reward in that. But like you said,
there is. Oh, no, it's an amazing reward. Of course, you know, I told you the reason why I do is when somebody's like, look at how I look, I feel great. Right. That makes me feel amazing. You know, that makes me feel like my face is done, your face is done, her face is done. We're good. Right. You know? Right. So it's a lot. It's a lot. It's very draining sometimes, you know, but it's also a very uplifting and happy job.
Right. And you get to see your work. There's evidence of your work as you see them out taking pictures and smiling and doing all those things. That's great. So if there's one thing you wish someone would have told you about entrepreneurship, what would it be?
Ooh. So let me think. Well, if there's one thing, I feel like everybody shared basically everything that I'm going through and dealing with now. Like, it was always like I surrounded myself with some really dope people. I was around you. I was around, you know, Darlene and I are still friends.
Oh, right.
To this day, you know, like I surrounded myself around, I always made sure I surrounded myself around people that I knew that were like inspirational and that were like major, but quiet. So it was, I honestly, there was nothing that anybody could have told me because I was learning from the people that were around me. So I was always like watching everything that you guys were doing. Ty Bouchamp, who I'm like obsessed with, you know what I'm saying? Like, just watching what other people were doing and saying, you know what, I took a little piece from that person, took a little piece from that person. And I've always been a hustler. I've always been, it was in me to like always grind. I was working since I was 14, 15. So I've always been working, you know? So coming into entrepreneurship, and I knew so many people over the years that coming into it, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep in touch with you. Now I'm going to ask you, help me.
Right.
Like,
which is important.
Yes. And like when I transitioned from being a jewelry designer, I was selling myself my pieces in Pieces of Brooklyn with Letitia. You know Letitia Daring.
Yeah.
She was the first person to take my stuff in her store. And
how
then
long ago was that?
Ooh, child. That
was before makeup?
That was way before I even knew that I was going to do makeup. That was when I didn't even know how to blend makeup. But Letitia, basically, I asked her, I said, well, are you doing a photo shoot for something? Well, $50, I'll do your makeup for you. you know, like whatever you can give me, just let me do it. Can I please be your makeup artist? And Letitia grabbed me and pulled me in, and then she introduced me to almost everybody that I work with now. Like a lot of the clients that I still have to this day, I was like, oh my gosh, Sharifa from My Shoe Diary. I need her in my life. I want to do her wedding. I'll do it for whatever. And then Sharifa's still my client to this day, you know? Right. So it's all about just not being afraid to ask for help, you know?
And ask for help, but also ask if you can do whatever the work is for that person. That's the thing too, not being afraid and doing it before. I'm sure you felt like you were ready, but doing it even if you didn't think you were ready yet. Because sometimes we all spend a lot of time waiting until we're quote unquote ready. And it's like, I'm just going to try. Like you said, when we worked together, I didn't even know that was not that it would have mattered, but you're like, that was the first time, but you were ready. You came in with your stuff. You were always early, you know, I was just like, oh, okay, she's a professional.
That was my first gig.
That's amazing. I love it. Now on Facebook, you posted, I like to pull quotes from people. On Facebook, you posted that it was 24 hours, I think, before your birthday. And that one of the things you like to do is look at what you accomplished in the last year and then make bigger goals. So, one of my questions for you is, what are you most proud of from the past year? And then what's one of your biggest, scariest goals for next year?
What did I do last year that was like major? I mean, June Ambrose was the major, like everything. Andra Day, seeing her career grow. Dej Loaf, like working with like all these epic celebrities was like, oh my God. Like, I can't wait to see you on Getty. How does the makeup look? You know, like it was one of those feelings. My goal for next year, well, I start shooting, with iHeartRadio. This probably this week or next week we start shooting. So I'm going to be doing their YouTube. We're doing a YouTube show for makeup on how to create different makeup looks.
You're going to be on the show, or you're doing?
I'm the host. I'm the host of the show.
You're the host of the show, Camara.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I have to be. Will I be able to link to that, or is it going to be? Do you know when it'll be up?
Well, we're shooting the pilot so we can start selling it to different brands, and hopefully, please God, that's what gets picked up. So that's the main thing. It's not a reality show or anything like that. It's just basically a how-to makeup show. So it's how to create makeup. We're going to be creating makeup on different complexions so that the girls that watch this can look at someone that looks like them, and they can figure out how to create the look for themselves. Basically.
I love that. Oh my gosh. So you're doing it with iHeartRadio is producing it, and you're the host. Okay. And but it'll be it's for YouTube.
Yes, it'll be on iHeart's YouTube. Yeah.
Oh, on iHeart's YouTube channel. That is amazing! Yay, yeah. That's great. Oh,
I'm excited.
So
that's all I've been working on. Like, Amazon.com hit me up, so I do little beauty advice and beauty stuff for Amazon.com show. So it's just basically trying to become a beauty expert now, and working on becoming an expert more, and then leaving the makeup to the, I still will do makeup, of course, but I want to be an expert at it and be known as an expert.
So is that one of your, like you said, one of your next goals, to make a transition from? It's so interesting. A lot of the women I've talked to who have done incredible work in all different areas are looking at this time. I think a lot of people are making a transition into how they see themselves long term.
It's exactly that. Exactly that.
Do you think that's something that's important, to look beyond what you're doing now and look at, this is what I want to transition into? It's not going to be always about just doing the makeup.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially in this world where we have everything is like digital. And I tell people to think big. Stop looking at what everybody else is doing and saying, oh, well, he's doing it for him and she's doing that for her. Maybe I'll do the same thing that they're doing. Like, just be you.
Right.
I never really tried to be like anyone else. I just did what worked for me and what made me happy,
Right.
And everything just fits. The puzzles just start to be put in place. I didn't know what I was going to be doing with this makeup thing. I didn't know anything. I was just like, I know I want to work with Beyonce. I know I want to work with this person. I know I want to work with that person. I don't care. I put it out there. I put it on a board. These are the people I'm going to work with. Half of the people already checked off.
I love that. So you have like a vision board, or a board where you put the people that you want to. That's amazing. I think that's very powerful. People don't understand visualizing it. So a couple more questions. I know you have to go. What's the greatest lesson having a business has taught you about yourself as a woman?
Oh, it taught me this business has taught me that I'm lovable. I'm likable, actually, because I never thought, I didn't think I was. And, I would always second guess myself, or I would always like put myself down, or always say, oh, this person doesn't like me, or they throw me shade, and oh, they hate me, or they're, and I would always do that. And then I was just like, what am I doing? This is not who I want to be. I don't want to be that person that's always second guessing how people feel about me. Like, I feel good about me. So I went to therapy, which I recommend for everybody to do.
Right. That's good.
And therapy helped me become a better woman and become be more compassionate and understanding that I'm going to give off what I want to receive. And so this business has taught me to become a woman, like how to become a grown, like, woman, that because, I was the youngest one out of everybody, like, that I would hang out with. I'm 31 years old, so everybody thinks I'm like, 35 and up. And I'm like, the reason why I act so, so mature and I try to like become great is because the women that I'm hanging out with are grown, amazing women that are confident. They're compassionate. They have so many amazing things going for them. And I'm like, I need to be more like you. Wait, so how do I do this? Okay. Step by step. And it took some time. It took a lot of time, but I'm happy to say where I'm at. The business has literally taught me to be like more confident in me, and not second guess who I am as an artist. And
Right.
I told June that too. I said I finally got her makeup right after like maybe 9 months of doing her makeup. I finally got her makeup right. And I said to her, I said, you know, she was like, girl, you did it. This is it. And I was like, and I said to her, I said, I have finally gotten comfortable with not thinking, what would Portia do? What would Portia do? What would Portia do? I finally got comfortable saying, just do you, Camara, because whatever you're going to do is your work. Don't try to be like Portia. Even though Portia's like everything to me, I'm like, you know what, Portia, nobody's going to ever beat a face like Portia. Nobody's going to ever beat a face like me. So let me just add a little bit of what I learned from her and create my own.
Right. Make it your own.
Yeah. And it's been working for me since, you know?
Right.
And that just happened this year.
Wow.
So always growing.
Always growing. I love that. Now, you mentioned your support network, and how important is that to you, just having your friends there and people that you can go to at any point to help you, and as you said, to help you grow, and having, as you mentioned, the people around you who you can look up to or be inspired by?
It's extremely important because this job is it's intense. Mm-hmm. So it's extremely important. Like my grandmother and I are like best friends, you know? So she is the one that I call at night, like, oh my God, this is what's happening. This boy broke my heart. This is what's going, you know, like I talk to her about everything,
right?
You know? And for my grandmother, because my grandmother was that person that was like, why don't you just go and become a nurse, become a doctor? And then she finally sees where I'm going with my career. And she's like, you got this. You're doing good. You don't ask me for money. You know, so my support system is always lifting me up and always telling me like, I see you. We love you.
Right.
Keep going, you know, and I appreciate them. Very grateful for them.
I love that. So in wrapping up, if you think over your life and your career and you had the chance to thank one person whose support was critical to you personally or professionally, who would that be and what would you say? That would be, and then I know that oh God, that's hard because Portia was like that one support system that was like, you want to do this? All right, I got you. I'm pulling you in. But June Ambrose, she's texting me right now too. June Ambrose is like a guardian, like I don't even want to say the wrong thing. She's so one thing I remember her saying to me is that she sees herself in me from when she was coming in. She sees that hustler spirit that like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be great at this. And that's the reason why even though I wasn't doing her makeup the way she wanted it done in the beginning, she kept me along and helped me become the best that I can be. And I appreciate her for that. Like she allowed me to be her artist for a year, even though she still calls Portia. It's either or, which I'm still, listen, just as long as you call me, I'm good. Mm-hmm. The fact that she trusts me around her, you know, around her life, her family. We went to the Hamptons together and she invited me. You know, that speaks so much volumes of like how this woman feels about me and how I come off to her. Cause you know, she's been in this game for years. Right.
You know, so she's changed my life. And I tell her that all the time. And she's like, stop being all emotional. And I'm like, no, you changed my life. Like you legit, she changed my life.
You played a part in that, at all the work that you've done, the work from your makeup and the work that you've done on yourself. I'm just, you know, proud of you and hearing you talk about the things that you did to better yourself, whether it's surrounding yourself with people or going to therapy or just learning more about who you really want it to be and deciding. That's the big thing too, deciding that this is who you want to be as a person. And then the other things fall into place. So bravo you. I love that.
You.
So final question, how can we support you? I'm going to have links to your website, of course, and all social media and anything else that we can do to support you.
Oh my God. I just ask you guys to just follow, support. You could hit me up if you want. I always respond. I need more, like the following to grow because I'm trying to, you know, of course, with the interview, with me doing the hosting job, I want to show them that a Black woman can be the host of an iHeartRadio, mainstream media, can be the host of an iHeartRadio show. So I want to show, like, I need as much support as possible of people to show love, to watch it when we do launch it finally. I want people to, you know, to definitely tune in.
Yeah, where to follow you? Give us your, in case
could,
people see this, hear this, who knows where.
and you could follow me on Camara Aunique. So Camara Aunique, A Unique, my middle name. It is my real name. That is all of my social medias. My Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter is all at Camara Aunique. I made sure of that, so it's easy to find me.
Awesome.
Very easy to find me. And you could just follow me, and I'll, whenever you guys like a picture, whatever I could get from you guys, I appreciate it.
And you always give back. That's the best part of it.
I always try to.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
especially I'm working on joining boards and stuff, especially in the neighborhood. So I was joining the Bed-Stuy YMCA board and working on that now, just to give back to the neighborhood, remind the Bed-Stuy neighborhood that there's people here that still cares about them. And
I love that. So thank you so much for doing this with us today. I hope it was fun, not too
was.
painful. Good.
No, it was amazing. Thank you.
Yes. And lastly, what's a parting piece of advice from you to our listeners?
Ooh, keep going. And you know what I tell a lot of people, don't watch what other people are doing. Just do you. Keep going and just do you.
I love it. Camara, thank you. Hold on for just a second.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for listening to that episode of the Support is Sexy podcast. And I do hope that you got some inspiration from it. And the challenge is for you to do at least one thing. Take one thing from the episode, at least one thing. You can always do more, but at least one thing that will help you move one step closer to your dream. Whether that's launching a business, writing a book, whatever that thing is that you want to do, take something from this episode and move one step closer. And what I'll also ask of you, if you can tell me what you think about the episodes, what we've been doing, what you want to hear, what you like, what you experience while you're listening, go over to iTunes, leave us a review, and let me know what's going on. What are you thinking? What are you feeling about the show? What else can I do to be of service to you, which is what this is all about, to be of support to you. That's our buzzword, right? You can also go to my website, elaynefluker.com/podcast. So that's ELAYNEFLUKER.com/podcast. Hear more episodes there. Also have a bunch of great videos, tons of information. It's where I'm going to be spending a lot of time, and it's where I'd love to connect with you. So again, thank you so much for listening. I truly appreciate you and your support. And the most important thing I want you to remember is having it all does not mean doing it all alone. So now, go out there and create something sexy, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.